Our first guest is turning empty urban spaces into colonies and finding some pretty sweet success. You knew I had to get that in there. Brian Peterson-Roest, founder of Bees in the D. It's a nonprofit dedicated to honeybees. Brian, thanks for being with us here on the Oakland County MegaCast.
Morning, Ronnie and Tyler.
Okay, so you have one of the most interesting nonprofits. Tell us first, what's your mission and why in the world did you even start this?
So our nonprofit focuses on education and conservation of honeybees, but also other pollinators, because when we benefit our honeybees, we benefit all pollinators. And I'm a fifth grade teacher, so education's at my heart. And I was given the opportunity about 12 years ago to go up to Beaver Island to take a course, a 2-week course on beekeeping. When I found out it was free, that the Women's Garden Club of Rochester was covering the cost, I was all about it. And I just, I caught the bug. See, I'll do some puns as well. And I just fell in love with beekeeping. And when we finally did move down to the city, throughout those years, beekeeping is, you're hearing about celebrities that are doing beekeeping because of how relaxing it is and calming it is to go into a hive. And I can agree with that. And they were kind of there for me during some rough times. And when I moved to the city, when I was reading about all the problems that our bee populations were having, I thought it's time for me to give back and be a voice for the bees. And so I started the nonprofit Bees in the D. And that was about 5 years ago. And I have been blown away with the response and the open arms of businesses and schools and other nonprofits. And it's been a wonderful thing.
I have to say, the thought of putting on a suit and coming in contact with bees that sting does not really sound relaxing to me. How do you convince kids this is cool?
So, Ronnie, that's the exciting thing about this. For example, one location we have is at the downtown boxing gym, which is an after-school opportunity for some of the Detroit youth. And they had the exact same response as you, that they were kind of nervous about the bees and they're going to attack me. And, you know, you get that whole Alfred Hitchcock feeling. But we were lucky enough that Fardman Cares donated 50 children's bee suits. And we suited up the kids, and it was so magical to watch that fear just dissolve as they realized that honeybees are actually very docile creatures, and you're actually welcome in their home as long as you are, you take slower motions, you're courteous, and I loved watching that dissolve. And then, of course, there's a little sweet after thing that we could give them a little honey, which everybody loves honey. So I'm glad that you said that, because that's the response of many people. But when we do our hive tours, it's so cool to see the change in people's feelings about honeybees.
Brian, are there other opportunities beyond just the hive tours for kids, for families, for people in the general public to engage with the bees and learn a little bit about beekeeping as well, or get involved?
Well, are you talking this year, or because of course with the pandemic, it's been very challenging for not just our organization, but all nonprofits and small businesses. But if it was a normal year, yeah, we do a lot of events. We do public honey harvest. We do workshops where we can learn more about bees. And then I actually do an all-day workshop where if people are interested in beekeeping, I have a real hands-on approach. And so that's why we can't do it this year, where we actually go in the hives. But we've been creative. We've been working with Yelp. We already did a virtual hive tour on our hives that are on top of the Shinola Hotel. And it was such a huge success that Yelp has asked us to come back and do a follow-up. And so we're going to be doing that on September 22nd. We're going to do a live honey harvest with our friends at Spun Sugar Detroit that opened up a candy shop. And we're going to actually harvest the honey virtually. And then you can actually purchase some of the honey and some of the sweets that she has at her shop.
So, Brian, real quick, I want to go ahead, and you mentioned the pandemic during COVID-19. I know your organization has a GoFundMe page going. How is that going? And it must be hard right now because you're competing with so many other nonprofits that need money in a time when people are, maybe unsure about their financial future and not donating as much.
Well, let me first just say this. The giving spirit of Detroit area, Metro Detroit, is amazing. Looking at the amounts of money that people are donating, we're a part of the Rock Family Community Challenge right now. And we're blown away with the response, because I agree. I mean, with so much uncertainty with your finances, the fact that people are supporting, it just shows the spirit of the Detroit area, that we want to help keep our small businesses. And it is tough being a smaller nonprofit to compete with some of the larger nonprofits and other businesses. But we're all in this together, we're working together. And so, I've been actually very pleased, and we're so thankful for the many donations that have been rolling in. And this charity challenge we're a part of right now goes for the whole month. And so we're just, trying to keep our heads above water, just like a lot of other people.
So you mentioned the charity challenge that you're doing. Can you go into more of to more detail about that? Are there other organizations that are participating, and how can people get involved or get more information?
Well, actually, it's the Rock family, so Bedrock is hosting it. They do this every year, and it is I love that they give back and try to help our nonprofits. Right now, if you want more information about it, you can, go to the Rock Family Community Challenge, but specifically, it's a little easier probably to navigate to Bees in the D. If you go to our social media pages, we've been posting all about it and challenging people to give. And so if you've got $5 sitting around and you want to help save the bees, and we really try to explain the importance of the bees, because there's so many great nonprofits out there. I give to a lot of the other ones when I think of like some of the dog profits. They're so cute, the puppies, and you're kind of like a bee. But we've got to think about the fact that bees help provide the diversity of food that we enjoy. Without those pollinators, we wouldn't have a lot of those foods. They say 1/3 of all foods that we put in our mouth are reliant on pollinators. And so that includes food that we, feed our cattle and even our pets. So really, the bees are right at the base of the foundation of helping out our ecosystem and our food industry.
So we are talking with Brian Peterson-Roest. Brian, I do have to apologize because I have not had my coffee today. I'm trying to start the day off with water, and I need that extra caffeine, I think. So you're the founder of Bees in the D. Why do you think we are seeing such a decline of, is it just honeybees or all bees right now?
Yeah, unfortunately, it is pretty much all pollinators, bees. There are about 450 different species of bees in Michigan alone, 4,000 in America, and 20,000 worldwide. It's a deadly combination of things. Of course, pesticides, but there's a lot of diseases now that we're a global society. There is a parasite known as the varroa mite that really weakens our bees. And so we really need to maintain our hives to make sure that we're keeping them healthy. And like I said, the pesticides, in some areas, the loss of habitat. So it is a lot of different things that are affecting our bee populations.
So, Brian, you mentioned that you were an educator. Are you still teaching at, was it elementary, 5th grade?
Yep, I teach actually in 2 locations. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Musson Elementary in Rochester, and I'm actually an adjunct professor at Oakland University. And yes, we have switched to, I'm getting really good at this Zoom thing. We have switched to the remote platform for now. I'm hoping in the future I get to see my kids face to face in person. It's very challenging, but we've got to keep ourselves and our kids safe. And so we're going to do the best that we can to keep our kids educated and keep them socializing. And really our district in Rochester and reading about other districts have done a great job. I know there's a lot of tension about this, but we're in this together. So we really need to support each other, parents and and teachers need to work together to make this a success.
So, I have to bring up the talk of the murder hornet. So we're going through COVID, and then news comes out about this killer hornet going on out there. Is it for real? Is it not for real? Do we even have to worry about it?
So it does exist. It does exist, and I strongly encourage you to watch some of National Geographic's videos about them, because it is mind-boggling about these hornets that originated in the Asian area. They have made their way over to the European area, where the bees have not figured out how to battle them yet. And there has been some talk that there has been a few random ones found in the west coast of the United States, over in the Seattle area. So they do exist, but it's been hyped up quite a bit. They are not here in Michigan. And there is a cicada killer, which is another kind of wasp that looks very similar. So I've been getting a lot of calls about them. And that cicada killer does not affect our honeybees like the killer wasp does.
Well, we need the killer wasp to just stay away, because we don't need anything else here in Michigan. I want to get back a little bit to your nonprofit. Where exactly are your hives located? And as someone who has spent a lot of time in the city of Detroit, there are a lot of areas now where blight has taken over, but we're also seeing somewhat of a return to nature. Talk a little bit about how you're using some of these urban areas to bring bees to the D.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because that in itself is why Detroit is becoming a leader in urban beekeeping, because we have so much green space. But our hives are peppered throughout downtown Detroit and throughout Detroit, and actually 5 counties. We have 175 hives all throughout the 5 counties that make up the Southeast Michigan area. We're at about 60 different locations, and some of those are rooftops, like you heard me say, Shinola Hotel, Foundation Hotel. If you are on the camera, you can see my virtual background is the TCF Convention Center. But a lot of our hives are also in the urban gardens, Detroit of Bloom, Palmer Park, Willow Rose, all these gardens that Michigan Urban Farming Initiative, we're growing fresh produce for the communities, and the bees triple, if not quadruple, if not more than that, the yields from those gardens. And so the bees are helping to provide healthy foods for our community. And we're actually working with the land bank right now, looking at the core city area. We are a little ahead of schedule, which we're happy to report. It was our 10-year plan, but we're looking to upcycle shipping containers. We're working with Studio Detroit, which is an incredible architect firm. And we are going to be creating a education and community center where people can learn more about bees, but also use this center for community purposes. So we're very excited about that. And we're excited to see how many spaces are turning green in Detroit. And I want to share this too. Our hives that are in the city, because we have them in the suburbs and in rural areas, are actually stronger in doing better in our city locations. And that's quite amazing, and a testament to how much green space we have in Detroit itself.
Brian, your nonprofit is the Bee's Knees. If people want to get involved, I had to do it, I'm sorry. If people want to get involved, are there volunteer opportunities throughout the Metro Detroit area, and how can people get information on those opportunities?
Yes, definitely. It's been a little bit of a disappointing year because we haven't had our in-person events, so we haven't needed our volunteers, but boy, they're itching to get going. We've had a few volunteer workshops, and we're hoping to revitalize those once it's safe for us to gather. But we do have a Facebook page. It's just Bees in the D Volunteers, and it's almost 200 strong already. That shows you how many people really want to get involved with helping our pollinators. All you have to do is request to join that group, and we put updates in there, or they can email us at bees@beesinthed, and let us know that they're interested in volunteering. And hopefully, as things start to get a little bit more safe, we can plug people in. Some people may want to help at our booths. Some people may want to actually learn beekeeping and get in the hives and help manage them. So there's a lot of wonderful opportunities. And with that said, we do a lot of really cool partnerships where we use those volunteers. For example, we have a couple beers in the making with honey, one with Eastern Market Brewery where we have hives on their roof, and with Dragon Mead. And also we have hives on Detroit City Distillery's roof, the old factory, the Stroh's Ice Cream, and it's coming back by popular demand. We take honey and put it in a bourbon barrel. We did this last year and age it for about 3 months, and it makes a bourbon flavored honey. And then they put the bourbon back in and it makes a honey bourbon. We sold out in 90 minutes last year. So we are doubling the amount of honey we're going to make this year. And that's going to be available closer to the holiday season. And if you don't mind, I'd also like to share, we are doing one in-person event we're very excited about. It's going to be social distancing dinner outside at the Whitney. We have 2 hives there at the Whitney, and it's going to be a honey-themed dinner where you also get some of our honey and some other wonderful things. And so tickets are on sale for that. That's September 14th at the Whitney out on their patio.
So we are speaking with Brian Peterson-Roest. I just can't get that right today, and it's such an easy name as well. So Brian, I've been on your Facebook page, and I invite everyone to go on and watch the videos. You are amazing at sharing how all this process works and takes place. What's one thing you want people to know about beekeeping and how the process actually works?
Well, thank you for going to our page. I love to do the educational videos. Like I said, education is at my heart. And so every Friday, you've probably seen my Forager Friday videos where I like to talk about different plants throughout, the city and the area. And so it's just been a lot of fun to share our passion, through those videos. And I try to keep them short and sweet. And then also we've been trying to do some educational things on our webpage at Bees in the D Junior for teachers so that they have a go-to, or parents that allow kids to have another activity that's unique and fun.
Brian Peterson, founder of Bees in the D, we thank you so much for being with us. And I am going to volunteer Tyler as a volunteer to go into the hive as soon as you get that started again.
Okay, but Ronnie, we're going to get you in too. I'm going to change your opinion about that. You're going to be mesmerized by how amazing the hives are.
Thank you so much for being with us.